So before our meeting room ended, we finished the pathway of food across the digestive system. So now let's focus on the different diseases or illnesses commonly associated with the digestive system. So the first one is malnutrition. So when we say malnutrition, it means that your body is not getting all of the nutrients that it needs. And when that happens, ibig sabihin, yung growth and development ng inyong mga katawan, hindi rin siya optimal. So kung ito yung dapat pinakamatangkad na possible height mo, hindi nare-reach ng katawan mo yon kasi hindi enough yung nutrients na binibigay mo sa katawan mo. Kung gusto mong tumangkad, dapat yung bone development mo maayos. Before mo ma-ensure na yung bone development ay maayos, dapat yung calcium intake mo okay din. So ang tanong is, do you have enough calcium intake? Kasi yun yung sinasabi ni Cynthia Villar, I think last week, na kaya daw mababa ang performance academically ng mga Filipino students is because hindi daw umiinom ng gatas. Kasi lahat daw ng milk products in the Philippines ay imported. So dahil sila ay imported, ibig sabihin sila ay expensive. So dahil expensive, hindi na lahat nakakabili ng milk products. So hindi na nasasatisfy yung needs ng inyong katawan when it comes to calcium intake. So dahil konti na yung calcium intake, hindi na rin ganun optimum yung bone development. So hindi na rin ganun optimum yung height growth ng mga Pilipino. Which is, meron namang katotohanan pero hindi siya yung, kumbaga hindi yun yung nag-iisang reason kung bakit ganun yung performance ng mga Filipino students. So hindi natin siya pwedeng i-associate lang sa pag-inom ng gatas. Okay, so maraming factors na pwedeng maka-influence dun sa low performance ng mga Filipino students other than calcium intake. Okay, so malnutrition. So in hope sa PE ninyo, I'm not sure if it was discussed, pero malnutrition kasi it means kapag ikaw ay underweight, ibig sabihin kulang sa timbang, ikaw ay malnourished. Pero pag ikaw din ay overweight or sobra sa timbang, that is another form of malnutrition. Kasi in science, anything na kulang or anything na sobra ay masama. Your body thrives in just the sufficient amount. So yung sakto lang, dun lang tayo sa tamang dami. So pag sobra-sobra, hindi na rin siya okay. Pag sobra-sobrang kanin, hindi na rin siya okay kasi you have to remember that rice is a form of sugar. So pag marami kang kinakain kanin, ibig sabihin ang taas na din ng blood sugar mo. So it can eventually lead to diabetes, especially later on when you get older. So malnutrition is a big problem in the Philippines. Lalong-lalo na nakikita ko sa mga teenagers, kayo yung mga nasa edad na hindi kumakain sa tamang oras, hindi kumakain ng tamang dami. Most of you don't eat breakfast. And breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Baliktad daw kasi ang Pilipinas. Ang tamang pagkain daw dapat ay inverted pyramid. Ibig sabihin, madami sa simula, pakonti ng pakonti as you go along the day. So, ibig sabihin, dapat ang pinakamaraming kinakain ninyo ay nasa breakfast. Pagdating ng gabi, konti na lang dapat yung kinakain ninyo. Pero ang Filipino diet ay hindi ganito. Ang Filipino diet ay baliktad. So, wala kayo halos kinakain pagdating ng breakfast. Pagdating ng hapon at ng gabi, saka kayo kain ng kain, ang dami na ng food intake ninyo. Which is actually wrong kasi nahihirapan yung digestive system ninyong mag-digest kapag very late na tapos ang taas or ang laki pa ng intake ng pagkain ninyo. Alas 9 na ng gabi, naglimang rice ka pa. Hirap na yung digestive system mo na i-digest yung food na yon. Okay? So dapat daw, inverted pyramid ang tamang way ng pagkain. At the same time, sabi nila, hindi daw okay na minsan ka lang kumain pero sobrang dami. If you really want yung proper digestion ng katawan, dapat daw unti-unti pero madalas. Frequent pero smaller portions. Para hindi nabibigla yung digestive system mo na ganito karami yung kailangan niyang i-digest. Mas okay daw yung continuous pero pakonti-konti. And how do we address what we call as malnutrition? So syempre darating tayo doon sa idea of what we call as food pyramid. This is a very basic concept. As early as grade 2 or grade 3, inaaral nyo na siya sa elementary, yung idea ng go, grow, and glow na food. So when we say go foods, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga pagkain na provides us with energy that we need for our everyday activities. So for example, ito yung mga nasa ilalim, which is your carbohydrates usually. Itong pinakamalalim ng pyramid na yan. Yan. So kung mapapansin niyo, in terms of portions, sila yung pinakamarami kasi sila yung go food. They are our sources of energy na ginagamit natin every day. And then we have what we call as grow food. So itong grow food na to, itong mga yan yung ginagamit ng katawan natin in growth and development. So yung pag-i-increase ng size, pagtangkad, pagde-develop ng katawan, lahat ng mga yan ay nasa grow food. And then of course, we have what we call as glow food, which is basically ito yung ginagamit ng katawan for the immune system to keep your body safe from bacteria and viruses, which is very important lalo ngayong panahon na to. We are in a pandemic, tapos wala tayong glow food kasi napakamahal ng mga glow food. So, mas prone tayo sa sakit. Dapat nga, during this time, ito yung panahon na well-invested tayo sa health kasi kailangan nating mag-maintain ng very strong immune response para hindi tayo mapasukan ng sakit. Okay? So, ito yung idea of portions. Okay? Pag sinabi kasing food pyramid, hindi ibig sabihin, dalawa yung idea na pinapasok ng food pyramid. The first one is that the idea na lahat ng uri ng pagkain na yon dapat nakakain mo every day. So yung kinakain mo sa breakfast, lunch, and dinner should be well represented by the go, grow, and glow foods. At the same time, the food pyramid shows the importance of the idea of portions. When we say portions, ibig sabihin, gaano yung sakto or tamang dami ng pagkain. So, hindi kasi pwedeng kaya mong kumain ng 1 kilo ng rice, kain ka na ng 1 kilo ng rice. Or hindi pwedeng dahil sa maraming chocolate sa bahay ninyo, kainin mo na lahat ng chocolate na yon. So, dapat meron tayong disiplina in terms of the portions or the sizes, how much of each food are we eating. So this is what we call as pinggang Pinoy kasi very specific siya na Filipino food. Naka-set siya in a Filipino setting. Okay? So this is for people who are 13 to 18 years old, which is, I think, yung average age ninyo for senior high school. So kung mapapansin ninyo, magkaiba po ang servings ng babae sa lalaki. Kasi tatandaan natin, magkaiba kayo, physiology, female and male. So, iba yung needs in terms of calorie intake at saka energy usage pagdating sa babae at saka sa lalaki. Okay? So, ang example niya for breakfast, kung mapapansin nyo dito, starting from the very beginning of the day, very heavy na yung intake ng food niya. Kasi nga, di ba dapat inverted pyramid siya. Although ito medyo maintain niya ng pare-pareho all throughout, evenly distributed kasi hindi talaga culturally ang Filipino kahit dinner, 'di ba? Alam niyo 'yan, malakas kumain lalo kung masarap yung ulam. So for example, here ang breakfast niya is bangus. So mas maliit yung portion ng bangus sa babae. Tapos kung mapapansin niyo, 2 cups of rice dito sa lalaki. Pwede ring mag 2 cups of rice ang babae, pero okay lang din na 1.5 siya. And then, meron siyang form of glow food. Ito yung kamote tops or yung talbos ng kamote, at saka may saging. So, well represented, may go food in the form of rice, grow food in the form of bangus, and then may glow food in the form of the fruit and vegetable. Pagdating sa lunch, ganun din, tinola, chicken tinola. So, tinola is a combination of grow and glow food. So, yung grow niya is yung chicken part, yung glow niya is yung vegetable part, tapos meron pa siyang additional na dessert na mangga for glow, and then syempre meron kang go food in the form of rice. And then here sa dinner, ang kanyang suggested is galunggong fish for grow, glow in the form of pinakbet, and then of course merong rice. Meron pa siyang nilagay na morning and afternoon snack. Most of these is actually in the form of go food. So itong kanyang suman at saka boiled kamote, both of them are go food. And then 12 glasses of water para sa boys, 9 glasses of water para sa girls, and then 1 glass of milk daily. So, ayan, kung mapapansin niyo yung mga ulam ng Pilipino, especially yung tinola, naka-accommodate both the grow and the glow food doon. Lahat halos ng ulam sa Pilipinas, it's a combination of meat at saka vegetable. So, nasa-satisfy niya na yung dalawang food groups according to the food pyramid. Okay? So, how do we treat this malnutrition? Of course, you have to make sure that you are eating a healthy and balanced diet. So, how do we achieve healthy and balanced diet? Ibig sabihin, dapat nasa-satisfy ninyo lahat ng food groups every day. And at the same time, nasa-satisfy natin yung amount or yung portions na dinidictate ng anong tawag dito, ng food pyramid. Ang pangit kasi sa atin is may mga food groups tayo na sobra-sobra, such as yung go food. Sobra-sobra siya, pero yung glow food, kulang na kulang naman. So, hindi talaga balanced yung tinatawag nating diet. So, it should be a priority for us, especially ngayon, we are in a pandemic, na may ensure natin that our body is strong by making sure na enough yung nutrition na pumapasok. Hindi yung puro pansit canton lang ang kinakain. Kasi wala tayo halos nutrition na nakukuha sa pansit canton. Even yung mga frozen food such as or even yung canned goods, yung mga delata, corned beef, anong tawag dito? Yung mga potato chips ninyo, yung mga yan, wala halos mabibigay na nutrition yan sa katawan ninyo. So kung more invested kayo sa mga ganong uri ng pagkain, it means that kumakain ka lang ng kumakain, nagpapasok ka lang ng nagpapasok ng calories sa katawan mo, and yet you are not satisfying the nutrition na kailangan ng katawan mo. So kung kayo ay tumaba during the pandemic kasi kain ng kain, hindi ibig sabihin healthy na kayo. May mga matataba na hindi healthy. Mataba sila kasi ang taas ng calorie intake nila, pero hindi sila healthy kasi nutritionally wise, hindi nila nasa-satisfy yung needs ng kanilang katawan. So may pumapasok na calorie pero hindi siya kailangan ng katawan. Hindi siya usable sa katawan. So yun yung nade-deposit as fats sa loob ng katawan ninyo. So yung mga tumaba nung pandemic, yung pagtaba nyo ba ay positive na pagtaba, or baka naman yan yung pagtaba pero malnourished pa rin kayo. Okay, so double check ninyo kung naging positive yung improvement ninyo sa katawan ninyo, or baka naman hindi pala siya okay. Okay? Next, another problem in the digestive system is diarrhea. Ito yung watery feces or nagtatae. Okay? Kaya siya watery or kaya siya wet yung feces is because hindi niya na-follow yung natural cycle ng digestive system. Ibig sabihin, hindi na-absorb ng large intestine lahat ng water content doon sa feces. So, with diarrhea, ang possible reason or possible cause niya is actually bacteria. It means na meron kayong nakain na merong bacteria doon, For example, yung mga panis na pagkain. Or meron kayong nainom na tubig na merong pathogen. For example, may amoeba doon or hindi malinis yung tubig, nakapasok siya sa katawan ninyo. At pag nakapasok siya sa katawan ninyo, ang natural response kasi ng katawan is alisin siya. Kaya kayo nagtatae. Kasi yun yung way ng katawan ninyo para alisin lahat nung nakapasok na hindi siya dapat nandoon sa loob ng digestive system ninyo. So may mga nagtatae na in one day 4 or 5 times hanggang completely ma-remove ng katawan mo yung amoeba or yung bacteria na nandun sa kinain mo. Okay? So wag nating, as much as possible, wag nating pipigilan yung pagtatae. So pag nagtae ka, ibig sabihin may kailangang alisin sa katawan mo. Pag uminom ka kaagad ng Diatabs at pinigilan mo yung pagtatae, ibig sabihin nare-retain or nananatili sa loob ng katawan mo yung dapat ilabas ng katawan mo na pathogen, na bacteria or amoeba. Okay? Unless you are traveling or meron kayong important na lakad, okay lang na uminom ng Diatabs. Pero kung kaya naman na nasa bahay kayo, you just, alam mo yun, hayaan nyo lang na lumabas. And then eventually, pag naubos na siya at completely natanggal na siya sa katawan nyo, kusa namang titigil yung pagtatae. Okay? So habang nagtatae kayo, ibig sabihin may kailangan pa siyang ilabas. Okay? So kailan nangyayari ang diarrhea? Pag nagkaroon ng may pumasok na bacteria sa loob ng katawan. For example, may mga, for example, cultures such as Japanese culture, mahilig silang kumain ng sashimi or sushi na merong fresh na fish, yung hindi naluluto na fish. So yung mga sushi and sashimi kasi na yun, they have to be maintained at a certain temperature. Dapat malamig. Kasi pag uminit yung temperature, ibig sabihin, mas tumataas yung reproduction ng mga bacteria doon. So yun, pag yun yung kinain mo, yun yung magiging dahilan ng diarrhea. Kaya kung mapapansin niyo sa mga Japanese restaurant, hindi sila yung pag naglagay ng pagkain, may 10 sushi agad dyan. No, pag nag-order ka pa, isa-isa yung bigay nila. Kasi yun yung way nila to ensure na hindi iinit yung pagkain. So pag binigay nila sa'yo yung isang sushi, makakain mo na siya kaagad. So before pa dumami yung bacteria, napasok mo na siya sa digestive system mo. So it will not cause food poisoning or diarrhea. Compared pag umorder ka ng 5, tapos nilagay na nila yung 5, yung 3 kinain mo kaagad, tapos medyo nabusog ka na, hihintayin mo, after some time mo kakainin yung pang-4, pang-5, chances are dumami na yung bacteria doon. It can already cause what we call as diarrhea. At saka syempre, yung mga unclean water, kaya nga tayo bumibili ng mineral water, is because we want to ensure na walang mga microorganisms doon that can disrupt our digestive system, such as yung amoeba. Pag hindi clean yung water at na-ingest mo siya, dumami yung amoeba sa loob ng digestive system mo. Yun na yung nagkukos ng severe stomach cramps, masakit na siya. Yung iba nagsusuka, yung iba nagtatae, yung iba both, suka and tae. So, that is a form of diarrhea. Okay? So, normal lang ang diarrhea. Normal process siya. You just let it na mawala siya sa katawan mo. Pero one of the things that you have to be careful of in diarrhea is what we call as your dehydration. Kasi if you will remember, kaya watery yung poop or yung feces during the diarrhea is because hindi na-absorb ng large intestine yung water content doon sa feces. Lumalabas na siya diretso. So, ibig sabihin, kulang na yung water intake ng katawan mo. Kaya usually yung mga nagtatae, pinapainom ng Wilkins or ng Pocari Sweat or ng Gatorade o kaya umiinom sila ng Oresol na tinatawag, oral rehydration salts. Kasi yung mga yon, it keeps you hydrated. Okay? So, pag yung dehydration, yan yung mas nakakamatay pagdating sa diarrhea. Walang namamatay sa diarrhea, pero may namamatay ng dahil sa dehydration. The human body can survive for 7 days without food, pero your body will not survive for 3 days without water. mas importante ang water. So on the second day na wala ka ng water intake, you will start hallucinating, your body will feel so heavy, pagod na pagod ka na, fatigue will set in, tapos nag-shake na yung katawan mo. On the third day, pwede na siyang maging deadly. Okay? Kaya nga kapag may mga exercises when it comes to survival, ang unang hinahanap is always water, the source of water. If you watched Hunger Games, ang unang hinahanap ni Katniss Everdeen is always a source of clean water. Kasi mas mataas ang fatality ng dehydration compared sa pag hindi ka kumain. Okay, si Sadako, kaya 7 days after bago siya mang-terrorize kasi 7 days before ka mamatay kapag wala kang pagkain. Pero only 3 days or less than 3 days kapag wala kang water. Okay? So related dyan, ayan, stay hydrated. You have to remember every day, women at your age are expected to drink 9 glasses of water, 9 or more. Whereas for men, for the guys here, it's 12 glasses or more. Are you satisfying yung water intake ninyo? Okay lang if you count 9 glasses. Okay yon. Pero you have to remember na meron tayong mga pagkain na naturally may water source. For example, kung ang ulam mo ay tinola, di ba kasama sa inuulam nyo yung sabaw? So that's already a water source. Pero make it a habit that you are always drinking fluids or water para hindi na dehydrate yung katawan ninyo. So if you want yung parang Korean skin na very moisturized, one way of achieving that is to ensure that you're always drinking water. Kasi pag dry yung skin mo, hindi siya maganda. Pero pag well-hydrated, well-moisturized yung katawan mo, then okay din yung skin mo. Okay? So stay hydrated. Make sure that you drink enough water depending on your activity. Kapag kayo ay active, nagbabike, nag-exercise, sumasayaw, you have to drink more water. Pero kung kayo ay passive, then you still have to drink enough amounts of water. So stay hydrated. Next is constipation. Constipation naman, ito yung hindi matunawan. Okay, so hindi na siya natunawan, nahihirapan na siyang tumae kasi hindi enough yung water sa katawan niya or sobrang dami, hindi ma-digest ng digestive system niya, so hindi na niya mailabas. Okay, so how do we prevent this? Number one, drink enough water. If you cannot poop, one of the reason is because yung katawan mo ayaw niyang ilabas yung feces kasi tinatry pa niyang mag-absorb ng water doon sa feces na yun kasi kulang yung water content ng katawan mo. So hinuhold niya yung feces, hindi lumalabas. So you have to drink enough water to ensure that you have regular bowel movement. At the same time, ito yung sinasabi nila na wag sobrang dami kumain, yung biglaan, bultuhan, ganon. Eat regularly, frequently, pero in small portions. Rather than hindi ka kumain ng 6 hours, tapos after 6 hours, ang dami mo namang kinain. So that can lead to what we call as constipation. Another advice is to drink and to eat food that has probiotics. So when we say probiotics, ito yung mga good bacteria that can help with digestion. So ayan, alam kong napakasarap niyan, Yakult. Minsan bitin yung isa, hindi minsan, usually bitin yung isa kasi masarap siya. Other than Yakult, you have your yogurt. Kain kayo ng yogurt or yung mga yogurt drinks and other fermented products, even yung sa mga mahilig sa Korean novela dito at mahilig kumain ng kimchi. Kimchi contains probiotics. It has good bacteria in there that will help you digest the food that you are eating para hindi kayo constipated. Other than this, yung mga oatmeal at saka yung mga food that is high in fiber can also help with the digestion process. And then last one is what we call as your gastritis. Yung gastritis, ito yung acid build up in your stomach. Usually, pagka kayo ay lilipasan ng gutom or masyadong mataas yung acid intake ninyo, puro Coke or puro beer, ayan, mga acid content yan, or nalipasan kayo ng breakfast and lunch, hindi na kayo nakakain on time, nagkakaroon ng acid build up in your digestive system. So that is what we call as your gastritis. So how do we prevent it? Number one, syempre, before you drink alcoholic drinks, make sure na merong laman yung tiyan ninyo. Limit the intake of Coke. Alam kong masarap siya, pero wag sobrang dami. Yung iba, hindi pa nagbe-breakfast, uminom na ng Coke. Ayan. Or sobrang dami ng coffee. Nanginginig na yung kamay ninyo, nag-a-acid na kayo, pero sige, kape pa din. Kasi puyat, inaantok. And then of course, you have to eat regularly and on time. Pag sinabing breakfast, ang breakfast until, ang alam ko, 9 a.m. lang. Pagka 10 a.m. ka na nag-breakfast, very late na daw yon. Kasi ang start ng breakfast is around 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. until 9 in the morning. Pag sinabi namang lunch, 11 o'clock until 2 p.m. Very late na daw yung 2 p.m. for lunch. Tapos pag sinabing dinner, 5 o'clock until 8 at night. Pag 10 o'clock ka nag-dinner, very, very late na din daw yon. So meron tayong fina-follow na oras when it comes to eating our food kasi yun din yung natural circadian rhythm ng ating katawan kung kailan niya ina-anticipate yung production of acids in our digestive system. So kung alas 3 na, hindi ka pa kumain, 11 pa lang nag-produce na ng acid yung katawan mo. So, nag-accumulate na siya doon sa stomach mo, pero wala siyang dinadigest na food kasi wala ka namang intake ng food. So, kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na hyperacidity. And then last advice is of course to take your vitamins. You have to remember na hindi lahat ng kailangan ng katawan natin ay kaya niyang i-produce. At hindi lahat ng kailangan natin ay nakatatagpuan sa kinakain natin or enough yung amount doon sa kinakain natin. For example, vitamin C is very important for your immune system. Pero ang tanong, are you eating enough food that contains vitamin C? Kumakain ka ba usually ng apples or oranges or citrusy foods or green leafy vegetables that contains vitamin C? If the answer is no, then kailangan mong mag-intake ng vitamin C. Kasi kailangan siya ng katawan pero hindi siya kayang gawin or i-produce ng katawan mo. At since hindi ka kumakain ng mga food that contains vitamin C, di dapat may additional intake ka ng, kaya nga tinatawag siyang supplements. Supplements are additionals kasi hindi siya enough dun sa kinakain mo. Even yung iodized salt, kasi dun sa food na kinakain natin, hindi enough yung iodine content. Kaya nagkakaroon ng mga sakit when it comes to iodine deficiency such as yung goiter. So paano mo mape-prevent yon? Gumawa sila ng iodized salt. Kasi ang salt ginagamit lahat sa pagluluto. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng kakainin mo may iodine content para mabawasan yung sakit when it comes to iodine deficiency. So depende sa katawan mo if you will be needing to take supplements or not. Kung ikaw yung tao na kumakain naman usually ng food that contains vitamin C, then you no longer need to take in vitamin C. Pero kung hindi ka sure na nasasatisfy mo yung needs ng katawan mo, then it's a better idea to just take supplements rather than hindi mo sure kung enough yung intake mo or hindi. Okay? So do we have any questions about the